I think part of my problems and challenges, sorry, I think the better word is challenges, is because of the session we just had earlier. Big data, AI, driverless cars, and all these things that we're talking about, we're hearing, that's going to happen. I lean on my son a lot. He's overseas. He tells me a lot about what's happening in the world. So he says, Dad, your fridge is going to order your food for you very shortly. I said, okay. I keep listening. I can't react. I don't know enough. I said, okay. He worked on a project for buses that didn't go into areas like Chandni Chowk because they were too big. So they built a bus with 3 axles, all dynamic. This was in Utrecht, which means a human can't drive it. So they had to use technology to drive it. It had sensors, it had this, it had that, and it would go into, almost take 90-degree turns and go into all the lanes and the by-lanes. We talk about energy and the fact that when you look at solar energy, it's getting cheaper, and now they're working on storage of energy, which means we're not going to be losing much of what we produce, and we'll be able to store it. Now, if that happens, there are a lot of people going to be looking for different kind of jobs because the traditional jobs may not be available. They'll be applying different skills. Now, we people in schools don't get an opportunity very often to interact with such an august gathering and get an idea of what's happening in the world and what do we need to do. But I do have a sense that is going to change very rapidly. And this sense tells us, me, and I'm sure there are many people in schools who are thinking about this, what should we do? What should we do differently? How do we equip our young boys and girls so that they carry forward less content, more skills? And those skills should be applicable in this very this ever-changing, and now I think it's not about ever-changing, it's changing so fast. And these skills should stand them in good stead as young adults when they go out. There was an experiment with drones delivering pizzas. Somebody's talking about using drones for crop spraying. They'll most probably also drop rose petals for inaugurations. I don't know. There's so much happening. Robots. I believe some of the logistic firms and people, I think like Safeway, Amazon, I was reading it somewhere. The moment you place your order in the warehouse, there's a robot who goes to work, pulls your order out, puts it on a conveyor, something happens, and in all that something happens, there's no human. So we're looking at a time, I think, where there's a lot of change. 3D printers. I bought one for my school the other day, and it's only when I saw it working that you realize the potential of that little machine. And I believe they're bigger and more expensive as well. But at the same time, I believe that there will always be work for us. It's just that what we're trained to do may not be available as a job. If we continue to do what we're doing, the way we're doing it today. And that is what I think Vinnie also drew upon when she said that there are highly skilled people, but somehow we're not being able to fit them into certain jobs, and that's sort of increasing, I'm told. So if we are to prepare our students for changed circumstances, and we don't know what they are, Maybe we need to just concentrate on certain life skills. And there's a basic small list which has been spoken about before, and Vinny also mentioned it. We talk about creativity, we talk about innovation, we talk about collaborative skills, which came through in the earlier presentations as well, that without collaboration, it doesn't work. Reasoning, critical thinking, entrepreneurship, which I think Pradeep would be touching upon. We need to build these skills in. So you can't change the content in the school. It takes time. You have curriculums to follow. You have an assessment system which has been set up by somebody else, which you need to follow. So I think what we can do is not dwell so much on the content, because there are restrictions for change there, but we can concentrate on the way we do it, on the processes, and the learning outcomes that come out of those processes. Okay. So we need to rework the manner in which we learn, and we need to rework the spaces in which we learn.